There we go. Right. Hello, everyone. Not as everyone would just click start, but hello and welcome to Unit 151. I'm Joe. Scott Bartlett here, who's an author of many books, lots and lots of books. He pumps around like a machine. At the moment, the latest ones are The Spacers and Ixon Prophecies and Supercarrier. They're some of his major ones, which we're going to talk about that because he's re-thingy bobbing it. Right, so what we're going to be talking about is kind of arcs and planning. So it's going to be planning of books, if you're doing a series, if characters, arcs, just sort of planning your stories and stuff. And then we're going to talk about relaunching a series, which you've already done, and what goes into that, and tweaks and stuff, and a few bits of art and bits like that. So, Scott, how have you been? What's been going on these last few weeks? Anything interesting?
I've been doing good, yeah. So we were talking a little bit about my Spacer series before the show, and I'm closing in on finishing book 6 of that. But in typical me fashion, in the middle of that, I've started an entirely new series that I'm now researching. So there's going to be more like a ground combat thing, probably focused on the Marines more so. There will still be spaceships, but it'll be less like a starship captain and more Marines, like ground combat and training and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm still going to come back to Spacers, but I felt like I needed a little bit of a break. Like I find that I work best if I alternate between projects. So I may alternate between these two series for a bit and see how that goes. But at any rate, there's 4 more Spacers books to come out, and I'm hoping to have that series wrapped within a year at least.
Cool. So about this new series, as you know, I'm getting some dirt. What gave you the idea about doing this then? Where did this sort of sprout from? That's the word.
Well, I have a lot of Marines in my readership, and I've actually been interviewing a lot of my readers who are military veterans lately. I've never served in the military. The closest I've ever come has been Sea Cadets, which isn't very close. And I was in Air Cadets briefly, but that's not very close at all. So I've been interviewing veterans, mostly veterans who are also my readers, and sort of to get an idea of some details that civilians wouldn't necessarily know, and to make sure that I'm getting the details right when I'm writing, and also that it feels authentic and stuff like that. So I'm always doing this sort of research because it is important for me to, especially to get the military details right. But I'm finding myself interviewing a lot of Marines, and I've always had Marines in my books to some extent. But the more I talk to Marines, the more of a respect the more respect I gain for the Marine Corps and like what makes Marines interesting and sort of the philosophy and ethos of the Marines. So, and it also works great genre-wise because obviously Space Marine is one of the 2 main subgenres of military sci-fi. So it also benefits me just to be as on the up and up about that as possible. So that's a large part of my inspiration there, just talking to my readers who are Marines.
Cool. Anything you can talk about? I'm intrigued now. Is there anything you can talk about? Just any little spoilery bit? Not spoilers, but you know what I'm saying. Any to tickle people?
It's in the pretty early stages. I'm doing a lot of different research. I'm planning on packing in a lot of cool sci-fi ideas. A lot of those will represent spoilers, so it's hard to talk about.
No, that's fine.
But it's going to start, I'm thinking, on an asteroid mining colony. And I'm probably going to have interstellar travel. I'm sort of on the fence about that because I've been wanting to write something that's just limited to one solar system for a while. But I'm thinking that may be too limiting for the story I want to tell here. So I may introduce some sort of interstellar highway, like wormholes or some equivalent. Because I think they may need to get around. But other than that, I'm hoping to be pretty hard with the science, and I'm just doing a lot of research on the detail. For making it as accurate as possible, but also making it as immersive as possible.
Well, you said you want to keep it sort of not small, but like close. Like you could have like new technology is just broken through like the last few years of actually traveling, so they're only just moving to a couple like new planets, so it's not so grand because it sounds like you're kind of going for more like a type than a big grand thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It may end up expanding into something pretty grand. Like The Expanse is definitely a big influence on what I'm doing. But I'm thinking I may have to start a little earlier than that, because in this world they've already been attacked by an alien species, probably 50 to 100 years ago. And I'm thinking the government is going to be a regency. I'm thinking the Regency of Mankind is the name that I have on that right now. Cool. Subject to change, obviously. But I'm thinking that it's basically this, pseudo monarchy, not quite a monarchy, but one government has control of basically the entire solar system. And they use the threat of this alien species to keep control and to keep very tight security on the system. And basically as the justification to do that. But there's a lot of doubt, especially among the colonists of the outer colonies. There's doubt about whether the alien species is even a threat anymore.
Yeah.
And whether it's just something they use as an excuse to sort of clamp down on rebellion and to keep everything super tight and keep everyone under control. But of course that develops, and there are going to be some twists associated with that.
No, it sounds interesting. I like this.
Always the twist.
Oh, you got to do a twist.
Yeah.
Right. So, shall we get into the first topic then? Because kind of bit what you're talking about. Like, you're talking about the planning for your space travel, kind of. So we go on to mumbling arcs and stuff, aren't we? Planning ahead. Like, what do you want to talk about? What specific thing? You're the writer. You're the man in charge. Planning. How much planning do you put in? How's planning?
I've always been a big planner, but I'm getting less and less so. I got to say, I'm trying to give myself more leeway, like in the middle of a project, to sort of go in whatever direction I like. But I do still like to have an end point in mind. So back in the day, I think my first novel I ever wrote, I planned it out chapter by chapter. And actually, I've done that for a lot of my recent novels too. Just literally go through and write an outline for the entire book. These days, I more so identify somewhere between 5 and 7 main plot points. We've got the setup, the first doorway or turning point, where it's kind of like the point of no return. The inciting incident is somewhere in there, the thing that kicks off the plot. Then you have the midpoint or crisis point, and you've got a couple of pinch points on either side of that, where the antagonist kind of challenges the main character or characters and scares them a little. Then you have the second doorway, another point of no return, where you're going into the final battle. So, and that may sound formulaic, but I actually find it pretty liberating, because I know that if I hit those beats, it'll tell a satisfying story. And also, I do find having that constraint, it actually gets the creative juices flowing a lot more. And there's an infinite number of ways that you can realize each of those plot points. And without them, I think it's easy to go all over the map. So that's usually what I'm thinking when I'm starting out writing a book. How do you do? You were talking a little bit about before the show how you're doing weekly videos. Yes. And the weekly story updates, which is great for motivation, but makes it a little challenging for planning, right? You were saying?
That's it. So I kind of I have an idea. So for the moment, there's a person called Admiral Zive. He's kind of the main alien person who you're sort of following around him. There's multiple characters and stuff. Right. I know what's happening to him. I know what his sort of kind of his arc of whatever in the story, because it's not as very detailed. It's quite broad, because you do a lot of time skips and you're all over the place, because you're telling the history of something that's already happened, because you know what happened, in my whole thing, or this little story thing. So where I know what I'm doing, because I'm doing it weekly, I add characters in, I bring people in. I think, oh, I like this person, and I have this little idea of what I'm going to happen to this character, but I haven't been able to build on them more, because every week I have to put something out.
Right.
So there's not I haven't been able to for example, I'm writing my book now. Whether the book's any good or not, up in the air. But I've been able to plan. I know what's going to happen. I know what happens to these characters and stuff. And some people might pop in, and then I know that I need to fill a bit back to introduce them a little bit to not just this person just, oh, hello, I'm here now. You know, so I know I've got to do all that stuff. But where I'm doing the weekly thing, a new idea, a new character pops in. I think this is amazing, but I haven't really been able to introduce or build feelings because I just had a conflict with these two, Admiral Zyfe and Admiral Flyer. These two people had a conflict. I knew there was going to have a conflict, but like, because I haven't forward planned to a degree, because week by week, something happened this week. The next, something else happened, which all these ideas popped to me as I'm writing them and doing it. And then the next week, the ideas go and end up clashing. And it's kind of, it for me personally, looking back onto it, Flyra, I should have put in the video before a bit more negativity for Flyra towards Admiral Zyfe to kind of justify what he'd done, but I didn't. But it's only when I got, you know, I knew it was going to happen, but I just didn't, you know, I didn't get to review it, like go through everything, and then you see what I'm saying? It's just I'm not being able to fine tune what's happening, but looking after, you see. But because I'm trying to get something out each week, you don't have much time. You know what I mean?
I think it's cool what you're doing. I've listened to a couple of your weekly videos, and this was a while ago. But from what I remember, it kind of sounded to me like you were almost putting together a history of this universe that you're creating. Is that accurate?
Yes. So basically, I've got my story that takes place. This whole thing is happening before my story, or everything that happens. So this is the history. So like you've got, you already know Yertle lose against Unity because there's 3 videos at the beginning which are very broad and cover everything that happens in a very broad stroke, and then these videos are filling in the gaps of individual conflicts and stuff that's actually happening within. So you know Yertle lose unless you've not watched the first 3 videos and it's all new. So it's just like a big history thing, and I've actually been able to I've made a few characters up which actually I kind of like. So I'm actually going to bring one of these characters over to my book because I just like this character and like stuff. So when my book eventually comes out, when I get time to finish doing it, if you're reading it and you've watched the YouTube videos, you'll be like, oh, that's one of them species, or that's that, you know what I mean? It just sort of just ties in a bit. So like I've got this thing where Admiral Zyfe nukes a whole loads and loads of planets. I mean, just kills all a load of people in his retreat. One of these planets is called Jester's Laugh, this planet. And Flyra was there, and Flyra's going to kind of not get the blame for it, but he lost against Zyfe, so he's going to be like Zyfe's word now. Is like Zyfe can say what he wants. He won. He can write history books. And then in my book, there's going to be a Pacific character whose, I think, grandparents died on that planet, so he's going to have a bit of negativity towards the Ra species who Flyra is. So just there's like a little bit of like, you know, his grandparents died on Jester's Laugh however many years ago, and I'm just trying to tie it and try and make it a bit more broader. That's kind of what I'm trying to do anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I mean, like, you know, sometimes if someone's writing a history of something, it's not always perfectly accurate. So this is almost a good way for you to sort of feel out your world and, you know, maybe make a couple of missteps. And I know video is a little less forgiving about that because with a book, you can go back and just edit it. But with video, once the video is up, to my understanding, it's pretty much set in stone once the video is on YouTube, right?
What I'll probably end up doing is re-record a new video.
Right, there you go.
That's it. Yeah. If I need to change something.
I wouldn't worry too much about it personally. I mean, you know, if you're realizing that you should have, for example, put in some more negative things that this antagonist had done, so just keep that in mind for when you actually write your book, you know.
Well, that's what I'm being able to do. If I bring someone in or something happens, I can then go back and I've got notes under each chapter. If something happens in this chapter, I'm like, right, I need to previously fill it out, explain a bit more.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Cool.
So, yes. Right. So, characters, Arks. How do you do them? Do you forward plan them? What's your, you know?
Yeah, I usually try to have some idea of like where characters are going to end up. Part of that is their role in the plot. You know, what role are they serving, and what goals do they have, and what do they need to achieve. But another big part of the way that I write characters and plan them are what are their flaws, like what's holding them back from solving the main problem of the story, and how are they going to overcome that? How, in my case, or in the case of my books, how is the crucible of combat going to mold them and shape them, and how are they going to react to that and have to change in order to pull through at the end and, solve the story problem, or, achieve their goals or save the day, or whatever the case may be in a given story. So yeah, those fatal flaws, I guess you might call them, are pretty important. I think you can have a book that's just about a perfect character, like The Martian is an example of that. It's basically a character without any flaws who just through sheer knowledge and perseverance pulls through that. Obviously a very entertaining story. But for the most part, I think having those flaws helps keep characters relatable, because as readers we aren't perfect, and so when we encounter a character who clearly has something holding him or her back, then that's something for us to latch on to, and we can root for the character and hope that they overcome that. And it's also especially satisfying when that's directly tied into solving the crisis that's present in a given book.
How do you come about creating your characters, and what sort of process do you do? Do you look for, you want this character to be like this, or do you just, he comes to you or she comes to you and you just run with it?
A lot of it is, I like building the world first. I'm a big world building guy. So a lot of it is thinking about what kind of character would exist in this world, if they were born under these circumstances and encounter these sort of conditions, and how is this person likely to react to that, or what might be interesting, what character might it be interesting to insert into this world and insert into the story, and just to see how they interact and react to everything. But back for Supercarrier, I did these pretty in-depth character sketches that listed physical appearance and mannerisms and flaws and history and all this kind of thing. And I've actually, for this series that I'm working on now, I've gone back to doing that. It's the character template that Scrivener just gives you, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, when you go into Scrivener and create a new character sketch, they have all these different categories. So yeah, for Supercarrier, I just filled those out, and I'm doing the same thing now for this series. Kind of a cool exercise.
Yeah, I did that. That's quite nice. Because I like that. I like kind of, if I'm making someone up, I like kind of knowing what they look like, so I can kind of do, sort of envision what they look like more. And if I'm describing something, I can, so on and so forth sort of thing. Or they're just like a blur to me. Because sometimes, when I'm reading a book, if I don't know what they look like, they're just like a blur, like a smudged blur character in my head. I don't know what they look like. You kind of, you know what I mean? Until something pops out that I know what they look like, and then I'm like, okay, like got blonde hair, or you're a bird or something. Like if I know these features, then I can envision it and I just make up my own version, but I could make up something.
Yeah, it's fun as the author too to come up with all these different details, not just for their appearance, but for their background and stuff. And sometimes you don't even end up working this stuff into the story, but it, and I think it helps you get a better grasp on a character as you write it, to know all this background stuff. And I even believe that I think the reader can sense when you have a firm grasp on a character and know exactly how he or she would react in every given situation. Even though you're not giving them the full breadth of all the details you've come up with, I do think it shines through the text.
Yeah, so I've got quite a bit of art done on some of my characters, and just bits and bobs and that. Like, people probably aren't going to see them unless they're interested, but chances. But I love it. I think I got all these characters done, and what they look like, and different armor sketches and all these different things. I just think, it's amazing. My little universe, my little characters made. I love it.
Yeah, I love that stuff too. Do you draw them yourself, or does it?
No, I've tried and I've failed. I've got a friend of mine's an artist, and we work out deals and we do stuff, and he's done some really, really it's just amazing work. I mean, I don't know, have you actually seen anything I've done?
I feel like I have seen some. Yeah, you should put some on the screen.
All right, give me a second. I'll pull it up now. All right. Here we go. What do you want to see?
Hopefully everyone likes my patio furniture in the background currently still in their boxes.
Ah, there's nothing wrong with that.
The background a little bit, you know?
And it's just loading. My computer's so my computer died a few months ago. Something fell on the top, and I've got like these little air vents. It fell and it went in there, and I heard like it went crack, 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 crack. And since something fell in there, and it just it's so slow. It doesn't do nothing now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Share a screen.
I'm constantly spilling stuff around my desk, but somehow I always seem to spill it away from my computer. I don't know how that works. I've just been
time I've done. I'm a nightmare for it as well. So this was a concept of this person called Tim. It's a Unity universe or Unity standard armor there, and it's just kind of like the faceplate and the sort of things.
Great artist.
It's really good. So like we originally met on Fiverr, and we've actually got quite a good relationship actually.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I love that.
Yeah, he's done quite a few. I'll show you one more.
Yeah,
because he's done the art. So he's done the armor, and then he's actually done the armor as. Here we go. I'm just going to share screen. Just wait for it to load my computer. Share screen. There we go. Right, and then he actually turned the armor into actual color and everything.
Oh wow, I love that. I love how it's done, like the fatigues with the camouflage and stuff.
Yeah, like it's outstanding work, and he's done aliens and all sorts of stuff. Oh, just full screen my screen by accident.
That's sweet.
Yeah, there we go. He's done loads of stuff. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if you're interested. I know you've got some art, which we're actually going to show that. We'll talk about your book.
Yeah.
Just talk about the art, but I don't know if you want his contact details just to do some stuff.
Couldn't hurt to have, for sure. Yeah, I'm not looking to get anything down right now, but yeah, send it my way.
Yeah, well, he's very reasonable price, like for sketches and like the first stuff. Like he's not. He loves drawing, which most artists you have to like drawing to be an artist. But he
makes sense.
Yeah, right. Now we're going to talk about your book. Relaunching a book. What goes into relaunching? Why you decided to relaunch, and then whatever else you want to talk about relaunching a book.
Yeah, cool. So there's a lot of different ways that you can relaunch something. Chris Fox has a book on this for anyone looking to learn more beyond this interview. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in the Write Faster, Write Smarter series that he has. And it's something like relaunch your book or relaunch your series or something like that. It's really good. And he talks about all the different options in there. But some of the different ways you can go about it, like technically a box set you could look at as a relaunch of a series. It's basically, you're selling book one and all the other books together. So and sometimes, especially if it's a longer series, you can have like a box set of 3 selling through to other singletons. So that's one way to relaunch it. In terms of the way that I did it, which was just relaunching the single book, there's a number of ways you can do that too. You can, get a new cover. You can add some bonus content, which I kind of did. I put an author's note in. I didn't add any short stories or anything, mainly because I didn't want to screw up the whisper sync between the ebook and audiobook. If the text is too different, then the whisper sync gets broken, and you're familiar with that, or
is that where you reading it and listening to it at the same time? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and also it allows reader or listeners to add on the audiobook to the ebook for like a lower.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah, so it's like a way of sort of making your work that much more accessible, and so I didn't want to break that. So I just put in the author's note that shouldn't be enough to break it, but it's a little bit of extra. And I also figured to spice things up for readers, I would do this artwork. But before we get into that, maybe I should talk a little bit about like why I relaunched it in the first place.
Sounds like a plan.
And the reason for that is it was for the last few years, since early to mid 2017, the book was published by Amazon's Kindle Press. So they approached me in 2017 about acquiring the ebook rights to it. And they did that, and they published it, and they did a great job. And they've kind of been promoting it ever since in different emails and, sales and discounts and promotions and things on the website. And that's been great. It's put a lot of new readers through my series. But I wanted to do a box set, and they didn't have the rights to Juggernaut and Reckoning, so they couldn't do the box set. And I said, basically asked them for them back, and they were kind enough to give it back to me.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, but the upshot of that is that I needed to publish my own version of it, right? So they took down their version, and they're like, you're gonna have to do your own version. And I figured, well, since this thing is going to be fresh to the algorithm, I might as well do, make it a little special, put in that author's note to give some background info about, me writing the series, my history as a writer and stuff like that. And also invest in this artwork to bring some of the characters to life. And I figured that artwork was a good investment because I can also use that to launch the box set. I'm going to be doing a 3-book box set at some point down the road. So, I can kind of do double duty there. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but that was a little bit rambling.
For your paper books, have you thought about sticking a black and white version of your characters in, just so it's just black and, so it can only cost you ink, like what it costs you to print a page will cost you to put a character? Have you thought about that?
I haven't thought about it too much. Was it you that mentioned putting
we're talking about the maps.
Yeah, which is a great idea. I haven't actually implemented it, but it is a great idea. I guess I wouldn't increase your print cost, would it? Just to put it in black and white?
That's as long. I believe, now I might be wrong, I'm talking completely out of my back end, but as long as you keep it black, so it's just you're only printing, they're only printing black ink. If you colors and stuff, it changes. Now, I think I looked before because I was looking at what it costs to do like colored pages and stuff, and I think colored pages work out like 50p or 70p, might more than that a page. But if it's just black, so they're just shading it, I think it works out the same, give or take. So for sticking in you've got the work, you've got the characters there. You could stick in maybe.
Yeah, I have given some thought to doing like special editions and like.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so that could be part of that. I'll definitely keep it in mind. Something I'm looking to do in the next year or so, I'd say.
Well, on that, do you want to show some art?
Yeah, let's do it. And this is actually something that I haven't quite shown before. So if anyone's familiar with Super Carry and the recent relaunch, they've probably seen the sketches of Lieutenant Husher, Captain Keyes, and Fesky. But what I'm going to be showing here today is that, but also the back view of each character, like the rear view, which the artist also did, but I just didn't include on the product page. So if any of my readers are watching this, then the big reveal. It's a big reveal.
Big reveal of all their butts.
Get excited. Get excited. Yeah, that's right. All right, so I just click share and screen,
You share, and then I should then click share on my end.
Okay, cool. So first I'll show Lieutenant Husher. Can you see that?
Yep, that's a screen.
So there he is, looking dapper, the UHF uniform, and there's the backside there.
That is kind of how I actually envisioned him.
Good.
I mean, not so much. I can't remember the colours of the uniforms, but face and that is definitely how I sort of thought he looked.
It's always a little iffy, whenever you get into any kind of visual medium, whether it's illustrations or movies or comic books or whatever, because the readers have their image of the character in their minds, and you can often risk violating that when you come out with these. But I thought it would be a cool thing to do. I mean, even me, like, these aren't exactly how I pictured them, so I don't necessarily think of these as like the canonical representations of characters. But I think they're cool. I think it brings it to life a little more. And if it doesn't match the reader's image, then
in the end, it's whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. You can imagine them however you like. That said, like after I saw the Harry Potter movies, I did imagine all those characters looking like that after that. So I do sympathize that it kind of does. You can risk it replacing the image in your head. But anyway, here we are. I'll show Captain Keyes next.
See, Captain Keyes, I envisioned him like Captain Keyes from Halo. Just because Keyes, that's just how the name. This is how it come about to me. So that's how I envisioned him.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection when I was drawing the character. I don't know if it was like a subconscious thing for me, but and I've played the Halo games, but it was only after like a reader or two pointed out in reviews, like, "Hey, it's like Captain Keyes from Halo," that I was like, "Oh yeah, there is a Captain Keyes from Halo." But this character is quite different, I would say. One of my favorite characters, Husher and Keyes, are some.
I like Keyes.
He was and Fesky too, actually. So
Fesky and Keyes were my two favorites. Like they was.
Yeah, they're fan favorites for sure.
And the one that's I call it a Wobbuffet, but it's not a Wobbuffet. I don't know if you know what Pokemon is, but it's like a blue Pokemon that goes in water with like a it's called a Wobbuffet, and you've got the ones that live under the water. What are they called?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one's name? The main one's name?
Ek.
Egg, that's it. Yeah, I liked her as well. Yes, her. Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, she was a cool character to write. It was a lot of fun. So there's Captain Keyes with his sidearm and whatnot, standing all regal almost and proud.
Yes, it.
Yeah. So and then we will show Fesky. Share. Bam. There she is.
Now, Fesky, I didn't quite envision her like that. I had her personally with a bigger beak, a bit more longer head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you say what color she was? I don't know why, but I thought she was red.
I do actually say what color she is. I went back and checked when I got these illustrations.
I couldn't remember.
And it was like, white mottled with brown, just like this.
Yeah, I was well off.
And I also say that her uniform had to be modified for her anatomy, so that the artist did a pretty good job of that too. And we went through a couple iterations of Fesky. Again, like not exactly how I pictured her either, but I think she looks pretty cool. I'm happy with how it turned out. For sure.
The thing is, like when you have an idea in your head, actually making that idea practical is can be quite hard. You know what I mean? Because like stuff has to work in a certain way, or else it can't be a bit of a mess. It's like
it's true. Should we show the ship schematics while we're at it?
Yes, anything super carrier, go for it. 'Cause you've got the new art or something. The art, haven't you?
Yeah, for like showing the provenance from different angles. This is from Tom Edwards, and I got him to for the relaunch do some different angles on the provenance, which I'll show first, and then there's like a schematics style drawing that he did too. So here are the different angles. You can see the landing bays here on the wings, and are you able to see that?
Yeah, I've zoomed it in a bit more.
Okay, cool. And it's pretty beastly ship.
I like the ship. I do like that ship.
Yeah, a lot of good memories right about this ship. And it's the ship. This is the series that sort of launched my career in the military sci-fi genre. So definitely has a special place in my heart.
When you was coming up with this, did you have an idea of how you wanted your ship to look, or did you just say, "Tom, I want a ship"?
I gave so I tried to strike a balance between like telling him what I want and specifying the different details it has. and also letting his, creative genius really let that shine through and let him have license to, as I usually say to him, make it look as cool as you possibly can. But I did tell him that it was going to be a super carrier. I told him that I wanted landing bays and stuff, and I told him that I wanted it to be a muscular ship and looking pretty beefy. So yeah, and especially on the cover that he did of Super Carrier, I think it's one of the best covers he's ever done for my money. Honestly, I really like it, and it certainly served me well. It's always great having Tom's work representing mine. I feel pretty honored to get to work with him. So,
have you got? Didn't you have? I don't know if you can show it, but didn't you have concept of your new cover?
Probably. I have concepts of a lot of new covers, but
you did show something. Yeah.
Here's the schematic.
That's it. Schematic. Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of, or?
No. I'm sure you showed us all because you showed us what one do we like, and everyone decided what they liked.
Oh yeah. I've done that a few times. I usually try to get the readers' input, especially in the Spacers group, and get them to let me know which one they like the best. And I normally do end up going with the one that they vote up, because obviously they're my readers, they're my audience. So if they say they like it the best, then why wouldn't I pick that one? Seems like a good idea.
Yeah, so I'd like that for my ships, because I've got a few. My artist friend, he's done a few designs of the ships, as a concept and stuff.
Yeah. They're pretty sweet, I gotta say.
They are nice.
Pretty happy with them. So
yeah, I'll just want it for myself, not to show people. It's I've got my own ship. That's what my ship looks like. That's what I want.
Yeah. I get a big kick out of it too. It is a lot of fun, and it does bring it to life a little bit more. When you have extra. I'd love to have all the characters drawn, and but given how many characters I've written, that would get pretty pricey. So.
Yes. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about today?
Nothing comes to mind. Yeah.
Perfect. We can save it for next time then. Anything else we'll save it for another time then.
Fair enough.
Right. Anything you want to say to anyone? Anything new coming to get anyone interested?
Let's see. I've got a couple authors that I'm publishing in audio coming up. I haven't really talked publicly about that yet, so I guess I probably shouldn't here. I don't think we've officially gone public with it, but there is that coming up. Spacer 6 is going to be coming out sometime in the next few months. It's basically done. I just have to finish writing the last 2 or 3 chapters and edit it, and then plan the launch. Rick Partlow has book 4. He recently sent it to me. I'm reading through it now. It's awesome. I'm about 30-40% of the way through or something. It's a typical Rick Partlow quality. It's just kick-ass, really interesting, concepts and characters and stuff. Earth of War is also very funny, so I'm getting kind of a big kick out of reading it, and action-packed. What else? I'm working with another author, but that's a top secret project again. So I'm not giving you much here, Joe, but. For me, it's that other project that I've started and Spacers. Those are my main things.
That new one sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It's certainly keeping me interesting.
Have you got a title? Anything you're thinking of a title?
I'm thinking Conscript right now.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So
it's all going down.
That's subject to change.
Yeah. Well, it always is. Right, well, I'm happy. Are you happy?
I'm very happy. Thanks so much for having me on, Joe. It's always a good fun.
Appreciate it. I love it. It's always good fun to chat, and you've got loads of knowledge. I learn. Other people might learn. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much to the people watching. We've had a couple people watching the whole way through. It's been popping in and out and stuff.
Awesome.
Until the next one. Next time, anyway. All right, bye.